I spent 8 years building a sanctuary for a man who was using my bricks to fortify a prison around his secrets. It was not just a lie, it was a masterclass in psychological warfare, and I was the willing casualty who handed him the ammunition. You think you know what betrayal looks like, but until you have looked into the eyes of the person who anchors your entire reality and realize that every word they have spoken for a decade was a calculated transaction, you do not know the meaning of the word. I am 42 years old, and I am a forensic auditor for one of the largest firms in Manhattan, which means my entire career is built on finding the discrepancies in other people's numbers. I find the missing millions, I track the hidden assets, and I expose the corporate rot that people try to bury under layers of shell companies. The irony is so thick, it chokes me, because while I was hunting down white-collar criminals and skyscrapers, I was letting the biggest fraud of my life sleep in my bed and eat breakfast with my daughter. His name was Julian, or at least that is the name he wore when he was with me. We met at a charity gala at the Met, a scene right out of a movie, where he spilled champagne on my dress and charmed me into laughing about it while he dabbed at the silk with a napkin that probably cost more than my first car. He was distinguished. He was in his late 40s with the kind of salt and pepper hair that suggests wisdom rather than age, and he spoke with the quiet confidence of a man who moved nations. He told me he was a crisis management consultant for international energy firms. It was the perfect cover because it explained everything. It explained the constant travel, it explained the encrypted phone calls at 3 a.m, it explained why he could not introduce me to his colleagues because discretion was the currency of his trade. For 8 years, we lived a romance that felt like it was curated for a magazine spread. I am a single mother to a 9-year-old girl named Maya, and I was protective of her, fiercely so. I did not let just anyone into her life, but Julian was patient. He waited 2 years before he even met her. He played the long game. When he finally did meet her, he did not try to be her father, he just tried to be her friend. He brought her rare books from London and handmade chocolates from Brussels. He remembered the names of her teachers and the dates of her recitals. He became the stable, masculine presence in a house that I had been holding up on my own shoulders for too long. We were a team. We were building a future. We had looked at brownstones and Brooklyn Heights, and we talked about how once his current contract in Dubai wrapped up, he would transition to a domestic role, and we would finally get married. I remember the last trip we took. It was 10 days in Paris last September. It was magical in the way that makes you suspicious in hindsight. We walked along the Seine, and he held my hand and talked about how much he wanted to adopt Maya formally once we were married. He looked me in the eye with tears in his own and told me that I was the only peace he had ever known in a chaotic world. I believed him. Why would I not? I had the ring on my finger. I had the architectural plans for the renovation of the house we were going to buy. I had 8 years of consistency, or what I thought was consistency. The crack in the facade did not come from a dramatic confrontation. It came from a notification on a tablet. Julian had always been meticulous with his digital hygiene. He had separate phones and separate laptops. But we had merged our lives in other ways. I had added him to my family sharing plan for cloud storage so we could share photos from the Paris trip. He had accepted the invite and then presumably forgot about it because he was too busy juggling the tectonic plates of his double life. It was a Tuesday in October. The leaves in Central Park were just turning that burning red that signals the death of summer. Julian was supposed to be in Tokyo for a high-level negotiation that would last 2 weeks. He had sent me a picture from the airport lounge at JFK, a picture of a glass of whiskey and his passport. I was at home, working late on a case involving a hedge fund in Connecticut that was siphoning pension funds. Maya was asleep. I picked up the shared iPad to look for a photo of the renovation plans I had saved, and that is when I saw it. The photo stream had updated. There was a photo taken 20 minutes ago. It was not Tokyo. It was not an airport. It was a photo of a golden retriever sitting on a porch with pumpkins and a decorative wreath in the background. The metadata on the photo did not say Japan. It said Scarsdale, New York. My heart stopped beating. I stared at the image. Maybe he sent it to me. Maybe he was visiting a friend before he left. But then another photo uploaded. This one was a selfie. It was Julian. He was wearing a flannel shirt and a baseball cap, which was something I had never seen him wear in 8 years. He was smiling, and next to him was a woman. She was blonde and soft-looking, wearing a vest and holding a coffee cup. They looked comfortable. They looked settled. And then the third photo loaded. It was the two of them flanking 2 teenagers, a boy and a girl, standing in front of a sprawling colonial house. The caption that synced with the photo simply said, "Sunday Fun Day with the crew." I sat in my living room in Tribeca, and the silence was deafening. The air conditioning unit hummed, but I could not hear it over the rushing of blood in my ears. Tokyo? He was supposed to be in Tokyo? I looked at the time. It was 8 in the evening in New York. If he was in Tokyo, it would be morning the next day. I pulled up the flight tracker for the flight number he had given me. The flight had departed on time. He just wasn't on it. I am an auditor. When I see a discrepancy, I do not panic, I investigate. I shut down the part of my brain that wanted to scream and vomit, and I turned on the part of my brain that destroys men for a living. I looked at the location tag on the photos. I zoomed in on the house number in the background, 42 Oak Creek Drive, Scarsdale, New York. I went to the property records database, which I have access to for work. The deed was not under a shell company. It was not hidden. It was listed under Julian Vance and Meredith Vance. They had bought the house 12 years ago. 12 years. I did the math instantly. We had been together for 8. He was married the entire time. Every single day, every phone call, every trip. He had a wife. He had children who looked to be in high school. The boy in the picture looked like he was about 16. The girl, maybe 14. I felt a physical blow to my chest, like I had been kicked by a horse. I gasped for air. I walked to the bathroom and splashed cold water on my face. I looked at myself in the mirror. I looked the same as I did an hour ago, but the woman staring back at me was a stranger. She was a fool. She was the other woman. But then the darker realization hit me. It wasn't just the emotional betrayal. Julian had borrowed money from me. Over the years, he had liquid cash flow problems because his assets were tied up in offshore accounts, or so he said. I had lent him $50,000 here for a retainer fee or $20,000 there for a bridge loan. 2 years ago, when we got engaged, we opened a joint investment account for the house purchase. I had deposited $200,000 of my savings into it. He was supposed to match it. I scrambled back to my laptop. I logged into the joint account. I had not checked it in months because I trusted him. I trusted him with my life, so why would I not trust him with my money? The balance was $12.40. The transfer history showed a steady stream of withdrawals over the last 18 months. The money had not gone to an investment fund. It had gone to a generic LLC called JV Holdings. I ran a search on JV Holdings. It was a contracting company based in Scarsdale. He had used my life savings to renovate his house with his wife. The nausea finally won. I ran to the toilet and retched until there was nothing left. I lay on the cold tile floor of my bathroom, shivering uncontrollably. My daughter was sleeping in the next room, dreaming about the man she thought was going to be her stepfather, the man who had bought her a chemistry set for her birthday, the man who had promised to take us to Disney World next summer. He was not in Tokyo. He was 40 minutes away. He was probably sitting on that couch in Scarsdale watching football with his son while I sat here in the ruins of my life. The shock began to fade, and in its place came a cold, hard rage. It was a rage so pure it felt like ice water in my veins. He thought I was just a love-struck girlfriend. He thought I was a soft target. He had forgotten what I do for a living. He had forgotten that I dismantle complex fraud schemes for breakfast. He thought he could steal 8 years of my life and $250,000 and just walk away into the sunset with his suburban family. I stood up and brushed my teeth. I washed my face again. I walked into Maya's room and watched her sleep for a moment. I needed to protect her. That was the priority. But to protect her, I had to excise the cancer that was Julian. I did not call him. I did not text him. If I confronted him now, he would run. He would hide the rest of the money. He would gaslight me. He would come up with some elaborate story about an undercover operation or a misunderstanding. I knew how he worked. He was a master manipulator. I needed to see it with my own eyes. I needed to be sure. I went to my closet and put on a black hoodie and dark jeans. I grabbed my car keys. I took the elevator down to the garage and got into my Audi. I drove out of the city, crossing the bridge, leaving the lights of Manhattan behind me. The drive to Scarsdale was a blur. I followed the GPS instructions, my hands gripping the steering wheel so tight my knuckles were white. I turned onto Oak Creek Drive. It was a wealthy neighborhood, large manicured lawns, circular driveways, silence. I found number 42. I parked 3 houses down, turning off my headlights. I walked up the street, staying in the shadows of the trees. The house was blazing with light. The curtains were open. I crept up the driveway, my heart hammering against my ribs like a trapped bird. I stepped into the mulch of the flower bed and peered through the large bay window. There he was, Julian. He was sitting at the head of a long dining table. He was not wearing the bespoke suits he wore with me. He was wearing a casual sweater. His wife, the blonde woman, was serving food. The 2 teenagers were on their phones, laughing. Julian said something and the whole table erupted in laughter. He looked relaxed. He looked happy. He looked like a man without a care in the world. He raised his glass of wine to his wife, and she smiled at him with genuine affection. He was not suffering. He was not missing me. He was not thinking about the woman in Tribeca he had left behind. I was nothing to him. I was a resource. I was a vacation. I was an ATM. I watched them for 10 minutes. I watched him be a father to children he never told me existed. I watched him kiss his wife on the cheek as she cleared the plates. I took my phone out and recorded a video through the window. I zoomed in on his face. I zoomed in on the wife. I zoomed in on the domestic bliss that was funded by my stupidity. Then I saw something that made my blood freeze. His wife was wearing a necklace. It was a diamond pendant, a vintage Art Deco piece. I recognized it instantly. It was my grandmother's necklace. I had shown it to Julian 6 months ago. I told him it needed to be reclasped and cleaned. He had offered to take it to his specialist jeweler in the Diamond District. He said he would take care of it because he wanted everything to be perfect for me. I had never seen it again. He told me the jeweler was backed up and kept making excuses. He had given my grandmother's necklace to his wife. That was the moment the sadness died completely. That was the moment the last shred of love I had for him evaporated. He hadn't just stolen my money or my time, he had cannibalized my history to decorate his lie. I lowered my phone. I stepped back from the window. I did not scream. I did not throw a rock through the glass. I walked back to my car in silence. I sat in the driver's seat and stared at the dark road. I could go to the police, but this was a civil matter mostly. I could sue him, but he likely had the assets hidden or under his wife's name. If I exposed him now, he would circle the wagons. He would claim I was a crazy stalker. He would spin the narrative. No, public humiliation was not enough. Getting my money back was not enough. I needed to dismantle him. I needed to take apart his life brick by brick, just like he had done to mine. I needed to make sure that when the dust settled, he had nowhere to go. No family, no career, no reputation, no money. I started the car. As I drove back to the city, I began to formulate a plan. I wasn't going to be the victim who cries and asks why. I was going to be the auditor. I was going to conduct a full forensic accounting of Julian Vance's life, and I was going to make sure the balance sheet ended in 0. I reached for my phone and dialed a number. It was late, but I knew he would answer. It was a private investigator I used for my high-stakes corporate cases, a man named Silas, who could find dirt on a saint. "Elena?" His voice was gravelly. "It's midnight. Is everything okay?" "No, Silas," I said, my voice steady and cold. "I need you to open a new file. Priority 1. "Who is the target?" he asked. "My fiancé," I said. "I want everything. I want bank accounts. I want credit card statements. I want to know who his business partners are. I want to know where he really goes when he says he is in Dubai. And Silas?" "Yeah?" "I want to know what his wife knows, because I have a feeling she is about to become my greatest asset or my biggest collateral damage." I hung up the phone as the skyline of Manhattan came back into view. The city looked different now. It looked sharper, harder. Julian thought he was playing a game with a lonely single mother. He didn't realize he had just declared war on the one woman in New York who knew exactly how to bury a body without digging a hole. The most dangerous thing you can do in a hostage situation is let the captor know you have untied your ropes. You have to sit there, wrists burning, feigning paralysis, waiting for the moment they turn their back. When Julian came back from his phantom trip to Tokyo 3 days later, I was waiting in the hallway of my apartment. I was wearing the silk robe he liked. I had a bottle of expensive Cabernet breathing on the counter. I had practiced my smile in the mirror for an hour until it reached my eyes. It is terrifying how easy it is to fake love when you are fueled by pure, unadulterated hatred. He walked in looking exhausted. It was a performance art piece. He dragged his suitcase, the one that had only traveled 40 miles to Scarsdale and back, as if it contained the weight of international diplomacy. He dropped his keys. He sighed. "God, I missed you," he said, wrapping his arms around me. I smelled him. That was the first test. He didn't smell like long-haul, recycled airplane air. He didn't smell like the sterile luxury of a Japanese hotel. He smelled like fabric softener, specifically a floral brand I never bought. He smelled like the laundry room of the house on Oak Creek Drive. I buried my face in his neck and inhaled deeply, forcing my body not to recoil. "Welcome home," I whispered. "I missed you too." I pulled back and looked at him. I touched his face. "You look tired, baby. Was the negotiation tough?" "Brutal," he said, rubbing his eyes. "The Japanese team wouldn't budge on the equity split. We were in boardrooms for 16 hours a day. I barely saw the sun." "I'm so sorry," I cooed. "Go shower. I made osobuco." As he walked to the bathroom, I watched his back. The loving fiancé mask dropped instantly, replaced by the cold stare of the auditor. He left his phone on the kitchen island. This was it. The window of opportunity. I knew his passcode. It was his birthday. Predictable. Arrogant. But I didn't just want to look at his texts. Texts can be deleted. I needed his digital fingerprint. I reached into my bag and pulled out a data extraction dongle, something strictly illegal and highly effective. I plugged it into the lightning port of his phone. The screen lit up. Data transfer initiated. I could hear the shower running. I had 3 minutes. I watched the progress bar. 20%, 40%. "Babe," Julian yelled from the bathroom. "Did you move my gray towel?" My heart hammered against my ribs. "1 second," I yelled back, my voice cheerful. "I think it's in the dryer." I stared at the phone. 75%, 85%. The water stopped running. I pulled the dongle out at 98% and shoved it into my pocket just as the bathroom door opened. Julian walked out with a towel around his waist, steam billowing behind him. He looked at me. I was standing by the island, pouring wine, my hands steady as a surgeon's. "Found it," I said, handing him a glass. He took it, smiling. He had no idea that I now owned every email, every GPS log, and every deleted photo he had generated in the last 5 years. He thought he was home safe. He didn't know he was already in the morgue. He just hadn't stopped breathing yet. Later that night, after he fell asleep, I went to my study and decrypted the data. What I found was not just a double life, it was a financial sinkhole. Julian wasn't just lying to me, he was lying to everyone. The consulting firm was a shell. He was running a classic Ponzi scheme on a micro scale. He was borrowing from Peter to pay Paul, and I was Peter. But the most shocking revelation was the wife, Meredith. According to his emails, Meredith wasn't just a housewife, she was the one with the money. Her family had money. The house in Scarsdale was bought with her inheritance, but Julian had forged her signature on 3 separate home equity lines of credit. He was draining her equity to fund his lifestyle with me and draining my savings to pay the interest on the loans he took out against her house. It was a circle of cannibalism. And there was a deadline. I found a folder in his cloud drive labeled Project Cayman. He wasn't planning to marry me in October. He was planning to default on everything. He had one-way tickets booked for himself, alone, to Grand Cayman on November 1st. He was going to leave me with nothing. He was going to leave Meredith with a foreclosed house and 2 children. I sat back in my chair. The rage was gone, replaced by a hyper-focused clarity. I didn't just want revenge anymore. I needed asset recovery. If I went to the police now, the accounts would be frozen, the lawyers would get involved, and I'd get pennies on the dollar in 5 years. I needed to liquidate him before he liquidated us. I needed to get inside that house in Scarsdale. The next morning, I told Julian I had a seminar at Columbia University and would be gone all day. He kissed me goodbye, saying he had to go to his office in Midtown, which I now knew was a co-working space he rented by the hour. I waited for him to leave, then I changed. I put on a severe gray suit, pulled my hair back into a tight bun, and put on non-prescription glasses. I grabbed a clipboard and a fake ID badge Silas had made for me. I drove to Scarsdale. I parked right in front of 42 Oak Creek Drive. I didn't hide this time. I walked up the driveway with the authority of someone who owns the pavement. I rang the doorbell. The door opened. It was her, Meredith. She looked tired. She was wearing yoga pants and a sweatshirt. Up close, I could see the stress lines around her eyes. She wasn't the enemy. She was the other victim. But she was also the obstacle. "Can I help you?" she asked. "Good morning, Mrs. Vance," I said, my voice clipped and professional. "My name is Elena Corvez. I'm an independent appraiser sent by the underwriter for the new umbrella insurance policy your husband applied for." She looked confused. "Insurance? Julian didn't mention any new policy." "It's standard for the refinancing application," I lied smoothly. "High-value asset protection." He listed several items that require visual verification: jewelry, art, electronics. It should only take 20 minutes, unless you'd prefer I call him and reschedule. The rates lock at noon today. I saw the flicker of fear. She didn't want to bother Julian. She was used to him handling the big, complicated business things. She was used to being kept in the dark. No, she said, stepping back. The house is a mess. I'm not here for the housekeeping, Mrs. Vance, just the assets." I walked into the house. It was strange. It felt lived in. There were shoes in the hallway, school books on the table. It was the life I thought I was building with him, already in progress with someone else. "He listed a vintage diamond pendant," I said, looking at my clipboard. "Art Deco. Platinum setting. Is that on the premises?" "Oh, yes," Meredith said. She touched her neck instinctively, though she wasn't wearing it. He gave that to me for our anniversary last month. It's beautiful. May I see it? I need to verify the clarity of the center stone for the policy. She led me to the bedroom, the master bedroom. I walked into the room where my fiancé slept with his wife. I saw the bed. I saw the wedding photo on the nightstand. I felt a wave of nausea, but I swallowed it. She opened a jewelry box and pulled out the necklace. My grandmother's necklace, the one my grandfather bought in 1948, the one I had worn to my sister's wedding. Here it is, she said, handing it to me. I took it. The metal was cold. I pulled out a jeweler's loop, a prop I brought, and pretended to examine it. Lovely, distinctive clasp. I wanted to pocket it. I wanted to scream. Instead, I handed it back. Condition verified. I spent the next 20 minutes cataloging everything in the house. The television, the laptops, the artwork. But I wasn't just listing them. I was planting. While Meredith was in the hallway looking for the receipt for the television, I slipped into Julian's home office. It was a mess of papers. I moved quickly. I took 3 distinctive red file folders from my bag, folders I had prepared the night before. I slid them into the middle of his stack of bills. Inside those folders were printed emails, fake emails. Emails between Julian and a divorce lawyer. Emails discussing how he was hiding assets from Meredith to make sure she got nothing in the split. I even included a fake dossier on a condo he was supposedly buying in Miami for his new girlfriend, a woman who wasn't me. I was lighting a fuse. When he came home tonight, if she found these, World War III would start. But that wasn't enough. I needed access to his bank accounts. I knew he used a hardware token for his transfers, a small key fob that generated codes. He kept it on his keychain. I couldn't get the fob, but I could redirect the authentication. Mrs. Vance, I called out, I need to check the serial number on the router for the cyber liability portion of the policy. Oh, sure, it's in the living room. I walked over to the router. I didn't check the serial number. I plugged a small Ethernet bridge into the back of it, a black box the size of a stick of gum. Silas was now inside their home network. We could intercept his traffic. When Julian tried to log into his offshore accounts from this house, we would capture the session. All done, I said, standing up. Thank you for your cooperation. Meredith walked me to the door. She looked vulnerable. You know, Julian has been so stressed lately. I worry about him. He works so hard for us. I looked at this woman. She loved him. She really loved him. And he was going to destroy her just like he tried to destroy me. Men like Julian, I said, looking her dead in the eye, breaking character for a split second, are very good at hiding their true value. Make sure you check the fine print, Mrs. Vance. I left before she could ask what I meant. I drove back to the city, adrenaline coursing through me. The trap was set in Scarsdale, but now I had to deal with the man in my bed. When I got back to the apartment, Julian was there. He was early. He was pacing the living room. "Where were you?" he asked. His tone wasn't worried. It was accusatory. "I told you, the seminar," I said, putting down my bag. "I called the registrar's office at Columbia," he said. The blood drained from my face. He had checked? He never checked. "There was no seminar today, Elena." He stared at me. His eyes were dark. The charm was gone. This was the face of the man who could lie for a decade. "Who are you sleeping with?" he demanded. I almost laughed. The projection was incredible. He thought I was cheating. "I wasn't at a seminar," I said, keeping my voice low. "I was at the doctor." He blinked. "The doctor?" "I found a lump," I lied, "in my breast. I was scared. I didn't want to tell you until I knew." The lie hung in the air. It was manipulative. It was cruel. And it worked perfectly. His face softened instantly. The aggression melted into faux concern. He rushed over and hugged me. "Oh my God, Elena! Why didn't you tell me? I would have gone with you." "I wanted to handle it," I said into his chest, repulsed by his touch. "But they did a biopsy. I'll know in 2 days." "It's going to be fine," he said, stroking my hair. "We'll get through it. I'm not going anywhere." Liar, I thought. You're leaving in 3 weeks. "I know," I said, "but Julian, the medical bills, my insurance has a huge deductible, and with the wedding—" "Don't worry about money," he said. "I'll take care of it." "Actually," I said, pulling away, "I was thinking, my aunt in Chicago, she offered to sell me a rental property, dirt cheap. If we buy it now, we can flip it in 6 months and pay for the wedding and any medical stuff, but I need cash for the down payment by Friday." "How much?" he asked. I saw the greed in his eyes. He smelled an opportunity to steal more. "I can put in 50,000, I said, "but I need you to match it. Can you liquidate some of the Dubai bonds?" He hesitated. He was doing the math. If he gave me 50,000 now, he could steal the title to the property later, or maybe he just wanted to keep me placated until November 1st. "Friday is tight," he said, "but for you, I'll make some calls." "Thank you." He went into the bedroom to make calls. I sat on the sofa and texted Silas. "I'm in the network. Did you get the keystrokes?" A moment later, Silas replied. "Got them. He just logged into his Cayman account. Balance is $1.2 million. He's moving it all to a crypto wallet tonight." My stomach dropped. Crypto. If he moved it to crypto, it was gone, untraceable. I couldn't audit a blockchain wallet without the private key. I had to stop the transfer. I looked at the bedroom door. He was in there, on his laptop, moving our lives into the digital abyss. I walked to the kitchen. I opened the breaker box that controlled the electricity for the apartment. I looked at the switch labeled Master Bedroom. I didn't just need to cut the power. I needed to create a crisis that would force him to leave the laptop unlocked. I went to the stove. I turned on the gas burner but didn't light it. I let the hiss fill the room for 10 seconds. Then I turned it off. I grabbed a heavy cast iron skillet. I walked to the hallway outside the bedroom. I smashed the skillet against the wall, screaming at the top of my lungs. "Fire! Julian! Fire!" I flipped the main breaker for the whole apartment, plunging us into darkness. The bedroom door flew open. Julian ran out, panicked. "What? Where?" "The kitchen!" I screamed, grabbing his arm and dragging him toward the front door. "I smell gas! Sparks! Get out!" He panicked. Self-preservation was his only instinct. He ran into the hallway. "Wait here!" I yelled. "I have to get Maya's inhaler!" "Leave it! Just go!" "No!" I ran back into the dark apartment. I had 30 seconds before he came back in. I ran to the bedroom. His laptop was open on the bed, the screen glowing in the battery-powered darkness. The transfer bar was on the screen. Transferring to wallet. Confirm? He hadn't clicked confirm yet. I canceled the transfer. Then I did something better. I opened the terminal. I inserted the USB drive I had kept in my pocket, the one with the payload Silas had written. It was a keylogger, but also a mirror script. It would auto-forward any transaction authorization to my phone for approval. I pulled the drive out. I ran back into the hallway, coughing theatrically. "A false alarm," I gasped, leaning against the doorframe. "I think it was just a blown bulb in the oven. The smell is gone." Julian was leaning against the wall, clutching his chest. "Jesus Christ, Elena, you almost gave me a heart attack." "I'm sorry, I panicked." He looked at me, then looked back at the apartment. He walked past me, straight to the bedroom. He didn't check on me. He went straight to his computer. I followed him to the doorway. He stared at the screen. He looked confused. He typed something. "Everything okay?" I asked. "Yeah," he muttered. "Just the internet dropped." He looked at me, and for the first time, I saw genuine fear in his eyes. Not for me, but because his escape hatch was glitching. "I need to go to the office," he said suddenly. "The connection here is unstable. I have to finish this transaction." "Now? It's 10 p.m. "It's urgent," he said, grabbing his jacket. "Don't wait up." He brushed past me and slammed the front door. I walked to the window and watched him run to his car. He was driving to Scarsdale. He was going to try to do the transfer from his home network, the network where I had just installed a physical bridge. I picked up my phone. A notification popped up from the app connected to the bridge. Target network active. Device, Julian_MacBook Pro, connected. I smiled. "Go ahead, Julian," I whispered. "Log in." I dialed Silas. "He's online," I said. "He's at the Scarsdale house. He's going to try to move the money again. Redirect it." "Redirecting to the holding escrow now," Silas said. "We need his 2FA code, though. He's going to get a text." "I know," I said, "and I know where his backup phone is." I walked into the guest room, where Julian kept a locked box of important documents. I had picked the lock 2 days ago. Inside was an old iPhone, a backup. I turned it on. It was synced to his messages. A text came in. "Bank of Cayman. Your authorization code is 884291. I read the numbers to Silas. "We're in," Silas said. "Transaction modified. The money isn't going to his crypto wallet. It's going to the shell account we set up in Jersey." "How much?" I asked. "All of it," Silas said. "The wife's equity, your savings, the loans. $1.2 million. It's gone from his account." "Do it." I hung up. 30 miles away, Julian was staring at a screen that said, "Transfer complete." He thought he was safe. He thought he had won. But he had just wired his entire stolen fortune directly into my control. My phone buzzed again. It wasn't Silas. It was a text from an unknown number. I opened it. It was a photo of me, taken from across the street, entering my apartment building an hour ago. Then, a text. "I know what you're doing, and I want half." I froze. I looked at the number. It wasn't Julian. It wasn't Meredith. Someone else was watching him. Someone else was hunting him. And now, they were hunting me. I stared at the phone in my hand. "I want half." The message hung there like a threat. I did not reply. I just looked at the photo of me walking into my building. Whoever this was, they were close. They were not a ghost. They were real. I walked to the window and looked down at the street. A dark car was parked across the road. The engine was running. I did not feel fear anymore. I felt cold. I was done being the victim. If someone wanted to play a game with me, they were going to lose. I grabbed my coat and walked out the door. I crossed the street and walked straight up to the dark car. I tapped on the glass. The window rolled down. I expected a thug. I expected a partner of Julian's. Instead, I saw a face that made me freeze. It was a boy. He was about 16 years old. He had messy hair and tired eyes. I recognized him from the photos in the house in Scarsdale. It was Julian's son, Leo. He looked terrified, but he was trying to act tough. "You're the girlfriend," he said. His voice was shaking a little. "And you're the son," I said. "Why are you following me, Leo?" "I know what he's doing," the boy said. "I heard him on the phone. He's leaving us. He's stealing Mom's money, and he's leaving. He thinks I'm stupid, but I listen." I looked at this kid. He wasn't a blackmailer. He was a desperate child trying to save his family. "You don't want half the money," I said softly. "You just want him to stop." He looked down at his steering wheel. "He took my college fund. He took everything. Mom thinks he's a genius businessman, but I know he's a liar. I saw you at the window that night. I figured if you were spying on him, you knew the truth. I want him to pay." I opened the car door and got in the passenger seat. "Drive," I said. "We have work to do." We drove to a diner a few blocks away. Leo told me everything. He told me how Julian ignored them for weeks, how he would come home and lie about business trips while smelling like my perfume. He hated him. He hated seeing his mother, Meredith, believe the lies. "He's leaving tomorrow," Leo said. "He has a flight at noon. He thinks the money is in his crypto account." "He thinks that," I smiled. "But the money is safe. I have it." Leo's eyes went wide. "All of it?" "Every penny. Your mom's inheritance, my savings, the loans. It's all sitting in an account he can't touch." "So what do we do?" Leo asked. "We give him a goodbye party, but we need one thing first. The necklace. The diamond necklace he gave your mother." Leo nodded. "I can get it. It's in the safe. I know the code." "Get it. And tell your mom to be home tomorrow morning at 10. Tell her it's an emergency." The next morning, the sun was shining over New York, but for Julian Vance, it was the beginning of a very dark day. He woke up in my apartment. He was whistling. He packed his bag. He thought he was a millionaire. He thought he was flying to the beach to drink cocktails while his wife and girlfriend cried over him. "I have to head out early today," he told me, kissing my cheek. "Big meeting before the flight." "I know," I said. "I have a surprise for you. A goodbye present." "Oh," he smiled. "You shouldn't have." "It's not here," I said. "It's at the house in Scarsdale." He froze. "What?" "I know, baby," I lied smoothly. "I wanted to surprise you. I dropped off a gift with your sister? She was at the house." He looked panicked. He had told me his family was dead. He didn't know what lie to spin. He just nodded. "Right. Okay, I'll swing by." He practically ran out the door. I waited 2 minutes. Then I got in my car and followed him. When I pulled up to the house in Scarsdale, his car was already there in the driveway. The front door was open. I walked in. The scene inside was quiet, dangerously quiet. Julian was standing in the living room. Meredith was sitting on the sofa, looking pale and sick. Leo was standing behind her, his arms crossed, looking at his father with pure hate. Julian turned and saw me walk in. His face went white. He looked from me to Meredith, then back to me. His world was collapsing. "Elena?" he stammered. What are you doing here?" "I'm here for the meeting, the audit." "Who is she, Julian?" Meredith asked. Her voice was small, broken. "She's a crazy client. She's stalking me, Meredith. Call the police." "Stop it, Julian." My voice wasn't loud, but it cut through the room like a knife. "She knows." I walked over to the table and placed a stack of papers down. "Meredith," I said, "this is a record of the 3 loans he took out on this house. He forged your signature. This is the bank transfer where he emptied your joint savings. And this," I pointed to the last paper, "is the flight confirmation for a one-way trip to the Cayman Islands. He wasn't going to Tokyo. He was leaving you. Today." Meredith began to cry, not loud sobbing, but the silent, shaking tears of a woman whose reality has just shattered. "It's a lie!" Julian screamed. "I love you, Meredith!" "Do you?" I asked. I looked at Leo. He reached into his pocket and pulled out the diamond necklace, my grandmother's necklace. He handed it to me. I held it up. The diamonds caught the light. "You gave this to your wife," I said to Julian, "but it belongs to me. It was my grandmother's. You stole it from my nightstand to save money on a gift." Julian stopped screaming. He looked at the necklace. He knew there was no lie that could fix this. The proof was right there in my hand. He changed instantly. The charm vanished. His face became ugly and sneering. "Fine," he spat. "Fine. So what? I'm leaving anyway." He grabbed his suitcase. "I have the money," he sneered. "I have $1.2 million. I don't need this house. I don't need you," he pointed at Meredith. "And I certainly don't need you." He looked at me. "You were just a boring distraction, Elena. 8 years and you never suspected a thing. You're pathetic." He turned to the door. I'm walking out of here, and if you try to stop me, I'll sue you for harassment." He opened the door. "Julian," I said, "check your phone." He stopped. He looked back at me. "What?" "Check your balance," I said. He pulled out his phone. He opened his crypto app. He laughed. "You think you can scare me? I moved it last night. It's—" His voice died. I watched his face. I watched the color drain out of his skin until he looked like a corpse. "Zero?" he whispered. "It says 0. He frantically refreshed the screen. "Zero! Zero! Where is it?" he screamed, throwing the phone on the floor. "Where is my money?" "It's not your money," I said. "It never was." I took a step forward. "I intercepted the transfer, Julian. I'm a forensic auditor. Did you forget? I track stolen money for a living, and you made it so easy." He fell to his knees. He looked small. "Elena, please, give it back. I'll go to jail. They'll kill me. I owe people money. Bad people." "That sounds like a personal problem," I said. I turned to Meredith. She was standing up now. She looked at her husband on the floor, crying like a child. The love in her eyes was gone. It was replaced by disgust. "Get out," Meredith said. "Honey," Julian pleaded. "Get out," she screamed. "Get out of my house." Julian scrambled up. He looked at me one last time. There was no arrogance left, just fear. He grabbed his bag and ran out the door. He didn't have a car. Leo had taken the keys. He ran down the street on foot, a man with no money, no wife, and no future. I watched him go. Then I turned to Meredith. "I'm sorry. I know this hurts." Meredith wiped her face. She looked at Leo, then at me. "Thank you," she whispered, "for telling me, for stopping him." "I have one more thing for you," I said. I took out my phone and tapped the screen. "I just transferred $800,000 to your personal account. It's the money he stole from the house equity and your savings. Pay off the loans. Keep the house for you and Leo." Meredith gasped. "But what about the rest?" "The rest was mine, and the interest, I'm keeping that as a consulting fee." I put the necklace around my own neck. It felt heavy and cold, but it felt right. It was where it belonged. I walked to the door. "Elena," Leo called out. I turned back. "Nice doing business with you," the kid said. He smiled. It was the first time I had seen him smile. "Take care of your mom, Leo," I said. I walked out to my car. The sun was warm on my face. I drove away from Scarsdale, back toward the city skyline. I was alone. I had no fiancé. I had lost 8 years of my life. But as I touched the diamonds at my throat, I didn't feel empty. Julian was out there somewhere, running from his debts, looking over his shoulder every day for the rest of his life. He was in a prison of his own making. And me? I was free. And I was debt-free. I turned up the radio and merged onto the highway. The audit was closed. The balance was 0. And for the first time in a long time, the numbers finally added up.